in, babe.
Welcome to
Coco Caliente.
Sorry, I skipped a beat there.
Yes, you did. How was your day today, honey?
It was good. How was your day?
It was actually really good. Arrow was not, he's a little congested, but, I took him to the chiropractor, and they said that because I had strep throat, that my antibiotic could have, killed his good bacteria, because it kills good and bad bacteria, right? Antibiotics do.
Oh, okay.
And so, our gut health might be, lower. Mm-hmm. So his first line of defense is mucus, and so his body's probably creating more mucus to protect himself, which makes sense, but it's very hard as a mother to hear,
I know.
So I got saline drops, and I tried to suck them out this morning, and then when you got home, you sucked him out, and he was a lot better. But
yeah, and there you go. That's for any person that is a mother and is going through that too, or is a soon-to-be mother. If you take antibiotics, it might, and your baby's already producing mucus, right? Because for the first,
he's only 2 months,
month or so, they don't. That could happen, right? He can get really stuffy,
and they only breathe through their nose, so they can't breathe through their mouth at all. So, and he has tiny nostrils like his mother. Poor baby.
Yeah.
But it was a great day. He ended up cooing and playing for an hour in his crib. I got his room cleaned up. And you know what I thought today? I was like, man, if I could just be a mom and just be a wife, how awesome that would be. Because a stay-at-home mom is not just that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
It's there, and I'm going to circle it back. It's social media. Mm-hmm. You have to show everybody, what are you doing? What are you doing that's different? Oh, I told Victor yesterday, my goal is work my butt off for the next 2 years, save my money, and then just
go
disappear. Disappear on media anyways. Not in real life, but, it's just, I think because I have it so much and so much stress of it.
Yeah, it's going so good that it's stressful, honestly.
It's going so good that it's stressful that I'm just and I'm juggling so many things, and I know I say that all the time, but I just today I just I didn't do any ounce of work.
Did it feel good?
It felt so good.
But then when you're done doing that, you're like, oh my gosh, I got all this stuff I got to do.
I know. But I was if I could do that every day,
it'd be amazing. I
would have the best meals cooked. I would. My cousin doesn't do social media. She's my age. She has a 1-year-old. And she doesn't even do Facebook. And she has so much time. I text her any question I have. What's the best diaper cream? What's the best lotion? What's the best this? She knows every freaking thing. She's on it. The baby encyclopedia, because she has all this time. And imagine she'll take hours and hours and hours to respond to me, because her phone is not at all of importance to her. Where my phone is always on my freaking hip and always ding, 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 ding. Even if I want to ignore it, you can hear it going ding, 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 ding. Anyways, I'm just saying, I think that is a great life to live if you can live it. So I'm just saying, you guys, I'm going to keep preaching this. And I think today was a beautiful day because I didn't really work, and I was a mom. And that's all I did. I
enjoy that too when I'm home on the weekends, or if I have to take a day off to help and I'm here just hanging out with Arrow. It's work, because it is work, right? It's not just it's not just a carefree day, but it's just awesome just to be with him and just doing that stuff and not worrying about anything else, right? My only focus is him. And as long as he's good, we're good.
We had the best conversations today. And, and I've never been busier. Never in my life with work. I have the most campaigns. I am turning campaigns down left and right. It's insane. And it's just I don't know, because I think sometimes, can I just take the month off? It's no, I can't even, take them half the month off, or I can't take one day off. So
yeah.
Maybe after October, maybe after the holiday season, it will come, you guys, and I will be like, you'll only hear of me on the podcast. You know, it'll be great.
Speaking of babies, how much does Arrow weigh right now?
He weighs 13 pounds 2 ounces.
13 pounds 2 ounces, because he just went to the doctor the other day, right?
He did.
Yeah. So 13 pounds 2 ounces, our bundle of joy. So I don't know, just kind of giving you guys an update. He's 2 months and what is it? 2 months and 2 weeks, something like that.
No, he was born on the 23rd. It's the 29th. So that's almost tomorrow. He'll be exactly a month, 2 months and 1 week.
2 months and 1 week. Oh, so I wasn't.
No,
too
you weren't far off.
Yeah.
No.
And so just keeping track, seeing where your baby's at too.
And I don't know how long he is. They didn't measure him.
You know, I don't know. I feel like since they're growing so fast, right? It's hard to keep up with the every measurement, right? And
From 1 month to 2 months, he's gained 4 pounds. That's quite a bit.
That is quite a bit.
He was 9, and he gets his shots on the 13th, which I'm dreading.
He'll be all right. He's resilient. When he got his shot when he was a newborn, he didn't even cry.
Yeah, but trust me, this is gonna be different. I was laying in bed last night, you guys, and I was like, oh my God, I'm like, I don't know if I can go. Like, can I go to the shot appointment? I'm like, yes, I have to be there for him, because I have this story about how I had a Pomeranian for 16 years. She was like my absolute best friend. I only had her for 8 years. My grandma gave her to me when she was 8, but like she was, because she loved me so much. Anyways, like we were both 16 when she passed away, so we were like born at the same exact time. My whole life I knew her, and she had to be put down, and I didn't go because I was like, I can't handle it. And like still to this day, it freaking haunts me because
that you didn't go.
Yeah, I'm like could cry right now because like she was probably looking for me and I wasn't there, and so
oh, don't cry.
Anyways, God, that's so pathetic. But anyways, I want to be there for Arrow if he's like looking around like, where's my mom?
Oh, absolutely.
But then at the same time, I don't want to like see him get hurt, so it's hard. And I'm like, God, I have to get him shots.
Yeah, obviously. That's not the debate.
Because I leave when they give my dog shots. Like I leave the room. So I'm like, oh my God. Oh, okay. So bring in our guest.
Oh, baby. That's like the saddest / sweetest thing, you know, because that keeps you up at night. But I just, I don't know.
But isn't that pretty crazy that my, I'm 29 years old. 13 years ago, my dog died, and I'm still like, oh my God.
No, I feel like there's things that we all hold on to as much as we want to let it go.
Yeah.
I can pull up several instances in my past, but I don't want to do what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that hit
my
the feels.
My mom was there, and my brother was there, but I was like, so I mean, she wasn't alone, but I was like, I was her favorite.
No, I know. Speaking of babies, as we've been talking about a lot, if anybody has looked at the Instagram post that Nicole did way back before we had Arrow about his nursery, you would notice a crib, dressers in there, and that furniture is all from Milk Street. Milk Street Babies.
Well, not all of it, but most of it.
Yeah, most of it. Yeah, most of it's from Milk Street. And so we have the owner and designer of Milk Street, the furniture and the cribs, on the podcast today. Her name is Julie Nicely. And we had a really good chat with her, so we hope you guys enjoy.
All right. Okay, so thank you so much, Julie, for joining us today. Do we pronounce your last name nicely?
Nicely.
Nicely. Okay, cool.
I'm not going to lie. I had to look that up because for some reason, it's probably my dyslexia or my self-diagnosed dyslexia. I kept wanting to say Kinsley.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I get Kinsley, Knisley. Yeah. My maiden name was Jones, and that one was a lot easier. Trust me.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and so then what I did was I Googled pronounce, and then I got basically the closest thing was nicely. So
yeah, it's like, knife, like silent KN.
Yeah,
Knife.
which makes sense. It's like knife, like
Exactly.
okay,
Exactly.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense after I did that.
This episode is brought to you by Sakara. Feeling your best starts with what you eat. Sakara helps you not only just eat healthy, but truly enjoy it with chef-crafted, plant-rich meals that build a foundation for radiant health. Sakara is a nutrition company that focuses on overall wellness starting with what you eat. They have organic, ready-to-eat meals that are made with powerful, plant-based ingredients and are designed to minimize your sugar cravings, boost your energy, and improve your digestion. And it also gets your skin glowing.
Yeah, Sakara is really cool. Along with the delicious plant-rich meals, Sakara also offers daily wellness essentials like supplements and herbal teas, and those support your nutrition. And you can experience their best-selling super powder. It's a metabolism super powder. And the metabolism super bar to control your sugar cravings, reduce bloating, boost energy, and reduce fatigue, which is awesome, especially for somebody like me. I go to the gym and then I'm busy all day, and even Nicole, because she's go all day doing work and with the baby. So right now, Sakara is offering our listeners 20% off their first order when they go to sakara.com/coco or enter code COCO at checkout. That's Sakara, SAKARA.com/coco to get 20% off your first order. Sakara.com/coco. So for our listeners, some listeners might know Milk Street. Some listeners might not know Milk Street or know you or the owner and designer for Milk Street. So if you can just tell them who you are, what you do, and what Milk Street is, and then we can just go from there.
Sounds great. So will you tell me when to go? And can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can hear you clearly. And the tape has already been rolling.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So my name's Julie Knisley. I have been a furniture designer for about 12 to 15 years. Sort of started this company after working for a lot of other brands. So I was a designer for Pottery Barn initially. I did some restoration hardware work. I worked for a company called Simplicity. I did some stuff for Graco. So honestly, within the baby space, I really focused on crib design because I felt like it was a niche of the market that no one was doing well. And in each of those, with each of those brands, I would see more and more the design would be cut, which, I mean, that happens, right?
Yeah.
As a designer, you have this grand, beautiful vision, and then it gets trimmed for pricing, right? Or because it's a little too far out, so you need to come back to the middle mainstream taste.
Okay.
So that was a little frustrating for me. I learned a lot. There's so much with compliance and regulation that you really are constrained in terms of what you can do with a 54 by 27 inch cage, basically, which is kind of what a crib looks like. So, we would do things that were just subtly different. Obviously, safety was number one. You had to make sure everything was sturdy, that all the finishes were Green Guard certified. And, that's first, right? And then within those constraints, you create a design that's unique, which it's hard to do, but I think we do it very well. So I think I would get frustrated because I would have these amazing designs, but the buyer would say, well, it doesn't look like everything else, so we don't know if it will sell.
Oh.
So anyway, we launched Milk Street Baby in 2018, so we're 3 years old, a little over 3 years old.
Yep.
And the goal was, there was, a multi-pronged goal. Safety obviously was number one. I think number two was creating a crib that was beautiful. It wasn't just functional. So you had to match form with function and do something that no one else was doing. And you did that with your lines, but also with finishing. And our finishes are spectacular. I mean, I think what we do in finishing, it tops restoration. I knew the factories where they did a lot of their finishing. So that actually taught me, what works, what doesn't with distressing. Mm-hmm. And if you look on the market, a lot of distressed furniture looks very plasticky. It doesn't look genuine.
Yes.
And so the goal was, you take solid hard wood and you either sandblast it or you wire brush it or you hit it with chains or you truly distress it so that when you put the glazes on, it gives you that depth, that patina that actually does get better with wear. So, if you're doing a solid white crib and it gets banged up, you're not going to be able to convert it for the life of your child, which is a big selling point for us. Mm-hmm. All of our cribs, they start as a crib, then you can lower the mattress, pull off the front, it becomes a toddler bed, then a day bed, and then a full-size bed. Well, if it's a white crib, by the time you get to the full-size bed, it's not going to look so great. You're not going to want it anymore.
Yeah. Well,
so the value, we wanted to give families a piece of furniture that was solid, built to last, and that would be beautiful. They wouldn't want to throw it out by the time their child was ready for a full-size bed. And then I think another really important piece for us is the customer support. You will always talk to a live person because as a new parent, you have questions. You wanna feel like you've got support from the company that you bought the furniture from. So we always call you back. You will always get a live body talking to you. I mean, I have customers that text me all day long, send me pictures. And it's beautiful because you get to know these families and grow with them.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. That's one of the most it has to be one of the most frustrating things. I even called, and I don't even mind saying their name. I called Xfinity the other day, and I went through a bunch of prompts over and over and over again to get nobody, essentially. And then I had to go online to do a chat, and then I got a call back. So yeah, that's really definitely important.
And in this day and age, you don't get it. You just don't, you're dealing with, a computer. I don't know. It's important for a young family.
Yeah. And we have actually a crib here, a Milk Street crib here and 2 dressers.
Yep.
And then we have another Milk Street crib at her mom's house, the in-laws. Mm-hmm. And we love them. They work great, very stylish.
Yes.
But my question for you really is, when you were a little girl, were you like, oh, I am going to build and design furniture? Like, how does one become
That's a great question.
A designer? Like, what do you, how does that come about?
So I think for me, I was always pretty artistic. I loved to paint and draw and I loved being outside, right? So instead of 2D, flat drawing and painting, I would build stuff. So as a little girl, I was not very girly. I was outside. I was playing. I had brothers. And I would build stuff. So I would find wood and I would sculpt. Everything was 3D for me. So I knew that, I wasn't going to be a painter or I wasn't going to be in textiles. I needed that depth of 3D. Mm-hmm. And if you look at what I do, it's all, number one, it's 3D, but I also pull a lot of things from the outdoors into what we do. So the finishes, they look like stone or distressed wood or the grain of wood for me is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
And and I don't know what collection you guys have, maybe the Relic. Do you know which one's there?
We have the branch crib.
Oh, you have the branch.
Yeah.
And you have the acacia one?
Yes, we do. We actually have the white one and we have the acacia one. So we have
I mean, you can see clearly in that design, it was designed by the tree forms, right? It's branches. And for me, that acacia wood, which is, it's really not used very often in nursery furniture. Mm-hmm. The properties of just that wood, I mean, acacia is a very dense, solid wood, so it's very strong. It doesn't break. It also has healing properties in the wood, and antibacterial properties. And I mean, you can go on and on. If you look back, the Native Americans would use pieces of it because they felt it had good karma. You know, like wood, it's just the coolest piece to work with. And if you look at your crib next to another acacia crib, it's one of a kind because the patterns, the wood grain, the colors, it's just, you know, I mean, for me, that is magical. And that branch line, which is our newest one, I think really shows the silhouettes of branches. If you look at our relic collection, which is more, it's like a primitive barn, feels like an old barn, right? It's big, thick, solid chunks of wood. But the wood, that color, so we have a fossil and a cloud, and it's probably a 14-step process. So that they take the hardwood and then we wire brush it, we bang it up a little bit, and we put 8 different colors to get that finish. So it's kind of in between gray and brown. So if your nursery has got more gray tones, the furniture will actually move toward a gray tone. If it's more browns and neutrals, it will go towards the brown family. And there's no black in it. And if you finish with no black, the light reflects much more beautifully. So it kind of takes on the light in your room. And it changes constantly as the sun moves or as you change the paint color. So I think tone is another thing that we do really well. Our colors are really beautiful. I wish I had sent you the swatches so you could see them all.
Wow. And like that sounds very, very intricate. I mean, I can't imagine what the process, like what the timeline is from start to finish, from you coming up in your head what you want to do to actually having a final product. Like how long does something like that take?
Well, for the branch, I can tell you, just because that's our newest one and it's fresh in my mind, we showed that we were, right when we launched, we were working with a sales rep company. And I drew that. I kept like seeing it because I see stuff kind of when I'm sleeping. I'll wake up and I have a notepad by my bed. My husband thinks I'm whacked, but I'll see it and I'll have to draw it or it'll be gone. And I kept seeing, like, I know this, there's something here. There's something here. And I drew it on a napkin. I drew it by my bed. Then I drew it on a napkin and I'm like, I don't know if we can do this compliance-wise because the spacing between the spindles on a crib is very specific. It's like, 2.2 inches or something like that. And so with that one, I'm like, can we engineer this where each branch fits within that compliance, within that spatial requirement? So that one, I think we did 3 or 4 different samples that went to testing, and they kept failing and failing because of the spacing. And finally we got it right, and it's like, yes. And so we had it. We had one sample, and I did some renderings of it, and I took it to my sales team, and I'm like, this is going to be a great crib. And so he's like, it's a little out there, Julie. I don't know. So he actually went before Target because we were going to do some stuff with Target for a sort of a house line for them. And the buyer was like, I mean, no one will buy this. It's way too far out there. And I'm like, yes, they will. I know they will. I know that it will be great. And so we did it, and it's selling well. So I think that was probably over a year in the making, which is pretty normal, by the time. And that's just construction and actual, just the lines of the crib. The finishing, and those finishes for the branch crib, that's sort of our middle of the road. We wanted every family to be able to afford that one.
Yeah.
On the higher end lines, the finishing is a lot more intricate. And that one didn't need it. You know what I mean? Like, that's got the oomph in the actual form. But like the relic line and the cameo, those finishes, I probably went through 30 different color rounds with those. And I'd be like, I want it like this. And the factory would do it. We'd sample it. We'd see it. And I'd be like, nope, there's too much yellow. Nope, there's too much white. Nope, there's too much blue in the gray. I mean, it's a process.
Are you changing in the process? Are you also changing the type of wood that you're using?
So when we design a collection, we have 4 of them. The wood grain is part of the design. So if you look at the Cameo has two finishes, a toast brown, which is really beautiful, and the steam, which is like a distressed white. That is all about the ash that we use, because ash has sort of a cathedral grain, meaning it's like an arch. The grain is actually really sort of rounded and soft.
Okay.
And it has a feel of like the French countryside, which if you look at that line, it's super vintage. It looks really sort of country French and like old world, right? It's more traditional. Whereas if you look at the Relic line, which is sort of that primitive barn, chunky, it looks old and distressed, but the grain is more of an oak. It's more birch and oak, which is what we use on that one. And it's a very straight, pretty consistent, straight, almost like quarter sawn look, if you know what that means. The grain is very straight on it, very uniform.
Yeah, when we were looking for a crib, so we were having a boy, and there's a lot of really pretty, like Victorian cribs for, that are a little bit more girly, but we needed something that was, I like things that are very, very unique. Yeah. And so that was it was really hard to find. And then when I saw the branch crib, especially like the Acacia, what's the color called?
The acacia. It's actually that wood species.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that with like the white around, so it had like two different a bunch of tones going on, and we have the theme of our nursery is like lions and basically safari. So it was perfect, but I mean, it took a lot of searching to find anything unique, and that was like unique stuff. There was a lot of cool girlier unique stuff, but I was like, I need like the boys, even buying boys clothes, which this is a whole nother topic, but they just, I feel like they just don't cater at all to like the boys and what the boys might want. So it was cool finding the branch crib, and I haven't seen anything else like it. And so it was awesome. And Victor put it together himself. So
yeah, I mean, it's true. Like, we try to keep everything gender neutral, but definitely that crib is so perfect for a little boy because it's still got the clean white like you want in a nursery, but then it's got the dark tones of the acacia. I need to send you, so we just did our first decor. We did a set of wall art. And it will look, I've got to send it to you guys because it will look so good above that crib. And that's
awesome.
We've never done it before, but this set it's called Abstract Moon Phases. So it's 6 different pieces of wood. One is like a planet, and then a crescent moon, and then just some stick-like shapes. But you can arrange it however you want, right? So you can do the sequence. I mean, ideally, you would do it with your child and let, a toddler can decide how they want the sequence to go. It can go horizontally. It can go vertically. You can split it up and put it around the room, but it pulls in. It's got that acacia. It's partially 2 of the shapes are acacia. I think the moon and the planet, and then the others are the New Zealand pine. Cool. So the light tones. Yeah, it's really fun.
And we're actually moving like next week, so we have to do a whole nother nursery again. So that would be perfect.
Nicole's so excited.
So remind me, send me an email, and I'll ship it out to you guys. You'll love it.
Are you guys selling in stores yet, or is it all online?
So we launched in 2018 only with stores. So,
okay.
And there's been such transition with COVID and all the trials of that. But, we started B2B, and we had a great support through a group called Brixie. And Brixie is a group of all the independent baby and child stores all over the country and even into Canada. So we launched with like 89 stores that were great. And we went around. If you bought all the lines, this was right when we launched, I would go in to the stores, and we would do sort of an opening. I would set up the gallery, and then we would have some local artists come in and have like a Milk Street day. It was really fun. And that, that was 2018, 19, and then COVID. Unfortunately, a lot of the stores didn't make it.
Yeah.
And we also were realizing, we need to sell direct. I mean, that's the way the world is going.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So now we do probably most of our sales right off our website, which is great, but it's still nice to have. We still probably have 40 locations throughout the U.S. where people can go in. Those people that really need to see and touch the crib and shake it and make sure it's sturdy, you can usually find a store nearby where you'll see our lines.
Well, that's awesome to hear. So that means that you guys are doing well, which, for being, 3 years old, and just launching on your own. I mean, I bet you that had to be scary. So I'm really happy for you guys.
Thank you. I mean, it's such a hard space because you have to have a name that people recognize. So our initial goals were just, let people understand what Milk Street Baby is, that the story behind, we're women owned and operated. We've all got at least 3 kids. We've been down this road, and it's like, okay, what could we not find when we were looking for nursery furniture? And that sort of has driven the entire process. But it is a very hard place to be, really because of logistics, right? Because you're trying to ship really heavy furniture.
Yeah.
and the shipping and the trucks. I mean, I swear it's harder to ship than to design and build the furniture. It's crazy. I kid you not. So we've got to redesign the packaging. We've got to spend more so that it gets there without breaking, because there's nothing worse than to have, FedEx. Well, I don't want to knock FedEx because there's some great people there, but
yeah,
you pick it up at our warehouse and it's in pristine condition, and then it's thrown into someone's driveway, and they're so excited. They've waited for their furniture. They want to set up the nursery, and the leg's sticking out of the box. It's like,
my gosh,
completely out of our control. So that, I think, has been the biggest struggle for me, is to see my furniture arrive not like it left me.
Yeah, that has to hurt when you get a picture from somebody. I'm like, this is
brutal.
how I got it.
It's brutal. It is brutal. But, until we can, I don't know, shipping, it's like, okay, well, can we get our own trucks? No, it's a whole nother business. So we've gone through several different shipping companies. We're working with a great company now called T-Force, and we have a guy there that's awesome. He schedules everything. He finds the best carrier in specific locations. So that's helped a lot. But, I think if I was going to say what's our biggest trial, it's logistics and shipping for sure.
Yeah. So,
and the stock position right now, because of COVID, things are still locked down. So luckily we had the foresight to get some containers. We filled our warehouse in February, March, before the lockdown. And thank goodness we did, because we've got stock, so we can ship right now in almost all our collections.
That's awesome.
And there's lots of quarantine babies. So.
Yeah,
I know.
Absolutely. And so what's the future outlook for you guys? I know obviously it's hard to predict anything now with the state of everything, right, including the economy, but what's kind of the next step for you guys? I know you just said you're getting into decor. Yeah.
Well, we actually, during COVID, because, we were kind of remote and isolated, I did a whole line for toddler and youth. And I think that is kind of going to be our next step. We'll keep baby, but we want to grow with our families. So I've got like 5 different lines sampled that are very style driven. So we have one that is bohemian, and it's a youth collection that's really funky. It's got, a twin bed, some chairs, some wall art. and a dresser and a nightstand. So we're doing that in a modern set, bohemian set, a mid-century modern, bohemian, then an industrial set, and then we're doing sort of a transitional one, which I think will be really fun.
Nicole's going to love
Yeah,
that.
I am.
Yeah, because that, there's not a lot in that space.
No,
if you've looked.
And if it's there, it's not reasonable, right? It's like just one of a kind, or somebody has to build it just for that thing.
Right.
And it's going to be, it's not affordable,
Exactly. So like and I don't want to give too much away, but for our modern set, it's a bed that has it's going to be really hard for me to explain, but it looks like it's floating off the wall. So it kind of comes out from the wall, and the entire room is different size boxes that you can sort of put together. So you can create your own nightstand. You can do, a tall chest. You can hang the boxes on the wall for display. It's going to be fun. It's going to be really fun.
That sounds really cool.
Yes.
And there's nobody that's there to tell you, yeah, that's just not going to catch on.
No. And you don't ever know, right?
Yeah.
You always have, I think if you look at across the lines, you kind of always have a dog, one that doesn't do well, but it will contrast the other things you're doing. And let me knock on wood, all of our collections have been winners, and their sales are strong, which is, I think the youth space, while I don't have as much experience, you can do a lot more because you don't have the constraints and the strict standard.
Right.
You can have a little more fun with it. And I think having the parents be able to reconfigure and sort of feel like they're designing that room, even with their toddler, could be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I like even like you said, like some things can be a failure, but there's nothing better than having you and your team be so excited about something and not having that, maybe we shouldn't do this, like you're excited, everybody's motivated, and that just puts that energy out there, right? So it's just a positive experience for everybody.
I would rather put stuff out there that I love and I'm passionate about than what I think
the mainstream.
I'm like, yes, mainstream,
exactly.
Whatever. Yeah, there's people out there that love unique stuff, and I'm one of them. So,
and I think more and more, because there's so much great stuff on Instagram and Pinterest, that it makes people realize that you can have some amazingly cool things that aren't the traditional look and feel. And we don't want to be like anybody else.
Right.
Yes, it's not tested, it's not proven, but that almost makes it better because no one's doing what we're doing.
Absolutely. And I always tell, because me and Nicole, we have these conversations about, maybe doing our own business of some sort down the line. And you don't need 100% of the market. You don't even need 20% of the market, right? The market is so massive, right? If you even get 1%, you're successful,
Exactly.
So if you do what you like, there's other people out there that like that same thing, right? So you'll do fine if you do it right and you have the passion for it.
For sure. And in this day and age, we've got so much exposure right at our fingertips. It's like used to when I started out, you couldn't even get your design in front of the buyer if it was different because it was too risky, right? You would never you wouldn't back something that was a risk. So you were basically recreating what someone else did at a lower price point, right? That was it. Okay, that's doing well. Let's try to knock it off and make it cheaper. To me, that's misery, right?
Yeah, well, because then the things just get, the quality of said thing just gets diminished.
Yeah, quality, the design, the finish, the safety. You pull wood out of something and it's not going to be safe. And safe is a really tricky word, right? Because a spoon can be dangerous if it's not used properly.
Yeah.
But I think, integrity is a big part of what we do. We stand behind every single bolt that we put into our product. So I can honestly say that I'm proud of every single piece we have out there, which I couldn't say before when I didn't have my own company. So,
Cool.
yeah, I mean, it's a fun time to be designing, I think, because you can get things in front of people and you get feedback. You get instant feedback from parents like you guys that can say, okay, we bought this because it's different. Sell me on who you are. Sell me on the story because I love the product.
Absolutely. Well, we really appreciate you talking to us and able to share so much feedback from your company. And we'll be one of the people first on board to get some of that bohemian or industrial
stuff.
toddler and toddler stuff.
I'd love it. And then maybe we can circle back and do another segment on okay, your baby's grown up now.
Yeah.
What does his room look like? Show me his room, right?
Yes.
Absolutely. And so people can, like you said, people can just go on to milkstreet.com.
Milk Street Baby, right?
Milk Street
Is
Baby?
it milkstreetbaby.com or is it Milk Street?
It's milkstreetbaby.com. Yep. And follow us on Instagram. We've got tons of specials and promos coming. I have a great new team. I just hired a new PR head and she's amazing. She's a photographer. Oh. She's got great energy. So she's really capturing a lot of who we are. And we've got stock in everything. We can ship immediately, which is rare right now. Most companies are at 6 to 8 months backlog.
Yeah, we had a friend that was
true.
That literally, they were looking for a crib and, their baby's coming in a few weeks and they said it wasn't going to ship till next year.
Yeah, I mean, it's I need a crib for my baby. I know. It's crazy. It's totally crazy.
But thank you again.
Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah, we really appreciate you and talking to you, and thank you for your time.
Oh, I loved it. It was great chatting with you guys. And you guys shoot me an email and I'll get the wall out to you. I'd love to see your nursery and get some feedback on it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Okay, guys. Thank you so much.
Yep, have a good night.
You have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was she was really informative, and man, to design something at Pottery Barn, could you imagine?
I'm still, there's so many questions that I really did want to ask still, but she's so knowledgeable with all types of wood and stuff that this one has these healing properties and this one just looks more like, this, and this one has this feel, and it's like,
and
oh
you know
my
what,
gosh.
that brings up a little bit of concern for me, because there is so much rules and regulations you have to follow with baby stuff. That with the baby boutique I'm wanting to open and been working on for the last couple months, several months, whatever it's been. I talked to someone recently, and there's so much you have to go through for baby stuff. Not for toddler, not for adult, but baby boutiques have it very difficult because everything you have to assume is going in the baby's mouth. Yeah. And
even just the packaging of things.
But the material and the buttons and the zippers, and I'm just is that something that I want, a road that I'm really ready to go down? Yeah. So now I'm kind of after
second guessing.
Well, I already was, and then hearing her say she has more freedom with toddler stuff. I'm should I do an adult line? Should I just hold off, keep the trademark, keep the name, and do something different? There's so much that goes into it, but you don't want to be responsible for
something happen to somebody's child.
Yes, for something so it's a lot to carry around. She said, every screw in those cribs, it's oh my gosh, that's a lot of responsibility.
Each gap, the spacing, it has to be a particular size for each of those, railings essentially. Or
because the boppy just got recalled. How long has the boppy been around? And so things like that, it's oh my gosh, because I remember everyone's you have to get a boppy, you have to get a boppy, and then now they're recalled, and it's scary.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely.
So I give her a lot of credit for going down that avenue, and that's probably a lot of people are scared to, because it's just a lot of responsibility.
Yeah, yeah. No, it is crazy. I mean, and it's rightfully so, right? But I feel like you have to have definitely some capital
Yeah.
Like to be able to put in and take that risk and maybe, have insurance in case something happens. Like,
oh, yeah, for
I feel
sure.
like there's a lot that goes into it that just a small boutique might not be the best avenue for babies specifically.
Totally.
Right. So
totally.
But I don't know. We'll see. Well, you play it by ear and see how it goes. On a very, very unrelated note, and this is like totally off topic, and I told you this already when I got home, but I'm just so flabbergasted that I could even do this.
Oh, jeez.
But what? You don't think it's interesting?
No.
Okay, well...
I guess if someone's about to drown me.
Okay, so somebody at barber school told me about this guy named Wim Hof, right? And he's done these crazy, extraordinary feats, and I listened to him on the Joe Rogan podcast, and it was very interesting. And one of the things he was talking about was breathing techniques, right? He can hold his breath for a long time. And with this breathing technique, when you learn it, you can instantly hold your breath for a lot longer. And I'm not even kidding. I was so intrigued that I did this breathing technique, and I've been practicing a little bit, and I can hold my breath for 2 minutes and 40 seconds. And I don't know if you think, oh, that's not a long time. I think that's a long time. I think that's pretty bizarre. He's done it up to 7 minutes and under ice cold water, which is even more impressive. So anyway.
The only time that I think this would be coming in handy is when you're like on the movies when they have your hands tied behind your back and your head dangling above a pool of water, and they want you to give them information and you're refusing, and so they stick your head under the water and try to drown you and then bring you back up. That's the only time that I'm like, yeah.
Well, interesting enough, what he was talking about is those breathing techniques, the exchange of gases, increase the pH levels in your body, which have positive health effects on your body. So it's not just being able to hold your breath, it's like healing your body.
Okay.
And anyway, there's a whole bunch of stuff. If you're interested, you can look him up, Wim Hof. Really, really interesting.
And for me, like, I don't love to be in the big bodies of water, so I just would panic and forget even how to hold my breath. I'm just saying. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. Rate, review, and whatever you do, Victor, subscribe. The easiest way is on Apple Podcasts, or you can go to www.cococalientepodcast.com and you can check out our merchandise. And I'm just trying to remember what Victor always says.
Yeah, thank you guys. Please don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. The easiest way is through Apple Podcasts. You can do it on the app on your phone or online. Don't forget to let people know that you can listen to this anywhere you listen to podcasts. Google Play, Spotify, Stitcher, and they can always go to www.cococalientepodcast.com, and you can also check out our merchandise there.
Yeah, some of you have been buying some merchandise. Woot,
Woot,
woot.
woot. And don't forget to follow us at Coco Caliente Pod on Twitter and at Coco Caliente Podcast on Instagram. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
If you want to be the most interesting person at the cocktail party, well, hop on over and listen to the Brain Candy Podcast.
Our award-winning content will have you laughing while you're learning.
We read all the best articles, books, and studies and keep up with new TV shows, documentaries, and pop culture. And then we cram it all into 2 shows a week.
Conspiracy theories, cannibal rabbits, unsolved mysteries, the history of the Walkman. There's something for everyone.
The Brain Candy Podcast. Find our link in the show notes.
Or simply search for the Brain Candy Podcast on your podcast app.